sticks and stones is a great mantra to have, but let's face it, when you're in a relationship, words can sometimes hurt.
Absolutely. Rachel Daigle from Daigle Professional Counseling Services brought along the list of 9 things you should never say to your significant other. Rachel, thanks for being here. A lot of these things we're going to talk about, many people probably didn't realize that, hey, that actually kind of stings a little bit. So I want to get through this list. The first one you've got here, which I can't believe it. I don't know who would say this. Ugh, you're just like my ex.
Yeah, it stings a little bit or a lot.
Yes.
Okay. Probably not the place to start. While your partner, your significant other may remind you or have certain traits or behavior patterns like your ex, not a great place to start with it. If there is something that is going on, and it does happen and it does occur, a better way to approach it than making that really obvious comparison is going to be to identify the specific behavior and then tell them why that hurt your feelings or that it was hard to get through. There is a place and a time to talk about your ex for sure, or what had happened in relation to how that impacts you, but it's not in the comparison mode. This is how that affected me, and this is how you can help me out by tweaking your behavior a little bit this way or that way because it's triggering some things in me. Makes some sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A little bit more constructive than just like this one or that one.
Yes, explain why you might want them not to do things that way without having to include the X factor in there.
Yes, and then when you come back and you revisit it, because often we revisit, have you noticed, in our issues in relationships, not bringing up the ex every time, but speaking of the behavior more directly.
All right, this one too. That guy or girl is hot.
Yeah, not so helpful if you're in a long-term committed relationship to one another. We're normal. It's a very human reaction to be attracted to other people. It's healthy. However, if it's just some small details about your barista or your waitress or, I don't know, someone on TV, probably not so helpful to share those small details. Now, if there is more of a significant attraction to someone and you're feeling on the verge or close to emotional or physical infidelity, that's a time where you actually would, when you're both in a place to talk about it, say something to your partner about it. And while it can be disruptive and upsetting, it's important to talk about because it tends to take out the illusion or the mystery or the allure. Do you understand what I'm getting at? Of being attracted to that other person. And talking about it sooner versus later is going to help you address the issues in your own relationship that are maybe causing some of those feelings to be occurring.
Right. Well, and I know this one I say a lot.
Really?
And I'm sure others do too. This is probably one that everyone said once in their life is, you always blank, or you never blank.
It's a big one, the all or nothing, right? And we do this to ourselves as well, you know, in our own dialogue with ourselves. But with the partner, or the significant other, it's a big deal. Starting there is not so helpful. Getting specific about what's occurring. For instance, if your partner didn't introduce you at an event and was really more into their own thing and not very aware of you, instead of you always do this, they can come back with, well, I introduced you to my family, or something very large and random. So get specific. You didn't introduce me at the event. I felt a little not considered, a little disrespected. So next time, would you, and how you felt about it, that's a big one, okay?
Yeah.
And so next time, it would be helpful if you did this for me. And what do you think about that? What are you willing to? Because sometimes significant others aren't willing to do what the other partner wants, but they can do something that's meets both your needs and expectations. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Yes.
Stay with us.
Okay.
When we come back, more from Dr. Rachel Daigle.